Guys?
Yeah.
Are we the problem?
Nah! Welcome back in to Backlash Podcast. Today, guys, marks a month of videos. This is episode 4. And if you didn't catch the intro, it was the name of this video from what Dawson said. Are we the problem? We're going to talk about that. Now, I think you could take the words, are we the problem, in a lot of different ways. What kind of circumstance are you talking about today? And a lot of times, yes, us three yahoos are the problem. However, today we are going to be talking about relationships, all right? Whose fault? Is it the fellas? Is it the females? Is it combined to both? More specifically, we're going to break down what, as a man, because we are all men, we can't speak for the female side of things. Yes. What?
Yes, I am a man.
Did you look down and check? What was that? He took it. Yes. We are gonna.
You never know. Life throws curveballs sometimes.
You're not wrong.
So, anyways, we're gonna talk about 6 green flags. That is this entire video. It's gonna be us breaking down 6 green flags, which we are all going to be opening up. We're talking a little bit about it, and it will become an open discussion. We'll talk about that for a while, and then we'll just go through each one of these. With that being said, we're going to start with our first one, which is going to be Dawson, talking over kindness, and he'll go in and break down exactly what that all entails. Go ahead.
So we're talking about kindness first.
Kindness first.
Got it. Kindness is a very important trait for women to have. You know, you got kindness, empathy, nurturing. I think for women, as men, it's very important for us to find women that have a nurture and a certain amount of empathy and care for living beings.
Yeah.
And particularly for our children's own good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anything to add?
I mean, to me, I think when I would think of kindness, I would also factor in hospitality to others, how your outside perceived. Because to me, you know, when you marry, when you, and not just to me, this is a biblical thing, but when you marry someone, you become one with them. So they are a representation of you when you're not with them. So you want to marry someone that's going to represent you and your family and your last name in a way that, you know, you'd be proud of. To me, this is just I don't know if this is I don't know where this comes from in my head, but to me it's are you marrying someone that, you know, if you were to go to tell your grandpa, hey, this is the lady that's going to carry on your last name, and this is the one that's going to have the offspring that'll carry on the last name, would he be happy about that? You know what I mean? Yeah. Would that be something that you'd be okay with? And to me, I think that's very important that you find someone that carries on a legacy, will help you carry on a legacy, because beside every great man, there's a great woman. You know what I mean? If every single person I could think of in my life that's contributed greatly in my life has had a fantastic wife beside them. And so I think it's very important that you have someone that can be hospitable, that can, you know, make people around them feel welcome and wanted. And I think that's, you know, and also lead people to Christ, especially young women.
I think the same way. For me, obviously you want a wife that's kind, but also I want her to, you know, teach my daughter to be the exact same way. I know so many girls, teen girls to be exact, just have so much horrible attitudes. Not just towards, and another thing is not just towards men or anything, just in general, to teachers and all that. And to me, that's just disgusting. And because they don't have that example, because, you know, a man has his role in the house, you know, they're a little more strict and all the other stuff. And I, you know, as a wife, when we're talking about kindness, I want her to have that soft heart. You know, It's something that I'm not going to have as much as a woman would. Right. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, to me, it's just more natural to a woman to be more soft-hearted, kind, nurturing, careful, and all that more than a man should be. And if my wife doesn't have that, I can't see her being my wife.
I wonder if you guys have had a similar experience. But, you know, when you're a small kid and you're sick, who's it that cares for you?
Oh, my mother.
Yeah.
I just think it's really important that your kids have that type of support system built in, which is going to be what your wife will provide for them.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta, and I mean, I think that's gonna tie into another thing we'll talk about later. You know, good wife, mother, things like that. But as far as like that, I understand the thing of the family, but to me, when I think of kindness, hospitality, I'm thinking of people outside,
strangers, exactly,
strangers. You know, people that you're not necessarily that close to. How are you perceived? That's how I go with that. And to touch on what you said, I think that in today's times, it is very hard to find a young woman that meets the criteria of being hospitable. I think the social.
Filmmakers.
I think
Oh my
social
goodness,
media
yes.
plays a massive role in
Huge
this.
role into it.
And I think that I mean it's honestly kind of disgusting that like they've degraded what a woman should be. And I think
And then there's people who play the caricature of a stay-at-home wife.
yeah,
And it's like, this is not what a stay-at-home wife is.
right, yeah, I am.
They're like recording themselves doing their chores. It's like,
Yeah.
how about you just do your
You
chores?
shouldn't be boastful about it. You know,
Yeah.
your
It's a
strength,
it's a very meek life.
like your strength should come from being quiet. You know what I mean? Like you shouldn't be like, look at what I did today. It should be like your husband and your kids, like behind the scenes, like they might not say the words, thanks mom, thanks honey for doing it, but they might show it through actions. And I think, that right there is on the touch of kindness and hospitality. I think that's very important that, you have a woman that's going to make, because to me, like, for example, like in my life, one of the biggest female role models to me was my aunt. Okay. And my aunt, if there was anything that she was known for, it was her hospitality, her cooking, how she can make I kid you not, I guarantee if I gave her a dumpster and gave her a week, I would come back to the coziest dumpster you've ever seen in your life. Okay. Like this right here, this is just like a thing.
It'd be a scented dumpster.
It'd be a scented dumpster. You'd be like, how do you even get the smell out of this? And like, she's like, did you know that shampooing carpets is a thing? Like getting on your knees, shampooing a carpet, having a machine to shampoo your carpets. Like I maybe like a big business doing that through your whole house.
Yeah, bro, you got that.
Yeah, like I'm talking
You got
hospitality. Like it's like it's like hospitality plus. All right, like it's just absurd the things.
I mean, your house is a representation of you, and when you're
Yeah.
welcoming somebody into your home, you need to present it in the best possible manner.
On a lighthearted note, not gonna lie, fellas, whoever I marry gets to be able to cook. Like
That's not for me. I wouldn't be doing all the outside cooking, so I'd be grilling all the other stuff, but everything else. That's
On the weekdays, I'll cook during the summertime.
See, this is how I envision, because
I'll cook meat. But,
basically,
I'm not gonna toot my own. I think I'm a very much so exceptional cook. I think I'm a very good.
You
cook.
are definitely above
for
average
a
cook.
male cook. I am
You are
very
definitely
out of
above
my
average.
ballpark.
Definitely
So
above
to me, I just think I always envision it like mom's gonna always cook dinner, but the kids are gonna be like, "Oh, dad's cooking dinner." You know what I mean? It's like that right there to me is like that would be such a cool feeling.
The ideal, situation.
So, I mean, overall, I think that kindness is just.
It's a must.
It's a must. I feel like
a half.
You know what I mean? Can you just imagine being with somebody that like only is nice to you, but like you're not perceived that from the outside. Like that completely changes your entire world around you.
It doesn't need to be because of this relationship. It needs to be who they are as a person innately. They need to innately be a kind-hearted, tender person.
Yeah, I feel like these are kind of like if you're gonna be with the dream woman, these are like this kind of conversation should never have to be had. It should just happen.
It should happen. Oh yeah,
Women-
100%.
Yeah, they're inherently this. If you're filled with God and the Spirit,
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
will come naturally.
And that entire thing of kindness translates directly into, being a woman of God. Because I mean, in Proverbs, does it not talk about, how like you should perceive from the outside, how everyone should. So I just think that like
It goes hand in
not
hand.
a bad word should be spoke against her.
yeah, exactly. So I just think that all goes. It really goes hand in hand. I think all of these 6 points that we're going to talk about in this episode, they all go hand in hand with one another. I don't really think that any of these I could sit here and we could rift off to the next one. I don't think that any of them would they go.
I dare say all of them except for one, but one falls over all of them. All go hand in hand. I mean, they are connected, chained together, if you will.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add on that closing note on that?
Kindness is good.
Amen.
Kindness is good. Yeah.
Kindness is good.
Which I'm
Love
sure.
conquers all.
I'm sure we have a better word for kindness. We're just not thinking of
Empathy,
Empathy. Yeah.
Empathy. Why not just go within kindness?
tenderness. I mean, there's a lot of words for it.
Yeah. I mean, just the ideal of
It's a fruit of the Spirit.
hospitality, everything. Yeah. So that being said, Noah, you want to touch on the next subject?
Okay, so this one, we've talked about this, is baggage. So more of the sense of past relationships. So obviously y'all don't know, but I've been in like legit relationships. I've been in 2. And how many have you been in? Would you say I would say like more than
I would say 1.
1, and then Dawson?
None.
So we all have.
Worthy.
So like we talked about this before, we had a few arguments or disagreements, but like when we're talking about baggage, we're just talking about like their past relationship, their history in the relationship. But before I start, I want to hear y'all's points first about what y'all see, like what's y'all's like limit, whatever, you know what I mean.
To me, baggage is really a for a lot of people, it's a delicate subject. And a lot of people do not want to talk about the importance of the fact that a lot of women, and men for this matter, but we're talking about women, a lot of women in today's culture will dive into relationships that are very unnecessary.
Oh my goodness. No need.
Where the guys are just not fit to be. I mean, they get in relationships with men that are just not fit to lead.
Exactly. Yeah.
Men that are toxic, that are just, not godly men.
Childish.
And, a lot of women make dumb decisions.
Yeah.
A lot of people make dumb decisions when they're young. And that baggage, permanently affects them. And I feel changes their appeal in the marketplace.
So, yeah, and I would say, so on this subject, I think baggage for a man and a woman is such a very different thing.
Completely different.
For a dude, I just want to let you know, for a real man, okay, if you have baggage, that is only going to come out to like the closest, most dearest brothers of yours, okay? And besides that, you're going to find like a new place in your soul that you didn't know existed, and you're going to shove all that disgusting feeling of just like unworthiness down in there, and it's just going to stay there, okay? And it's going to like, it's just going to marinate, all right? It's going to like,
you're just going to hope it just...
You're going to hope it goes away, but it doesn't. And even if we talk about it, it's not going to go. It's just there. Some of the things you don't even mention to everybody. It gets so
You
dark.
don't even think about it.
Yeah, like there's some stuff in there that you don't even like. Don't ever do that, fellas. Stay away from that. But on the subject of a woman, like baggage and past relationships, to me, I feel like in today's time and culture, it's like almost like a token. It's like
it's so hard. I think the best way that, as we've been talking, that I can think about is pure.
Yeah.
A pure, clean
People
woman,
use the relationship like it's an Xbox achievement.
Yeah.
Like
No,
it's
literally.
like
No,
it's a
like,
video game
literally.
achievement.
Yeah.
Like, when the badge pops up.
And I think
Relationship unlocked.
I do think that it is very healthy for you to be in a relationship. I think dating, once you're married, this shouldn't have been like talked about really at all. But in a early dating stage relationship, you should talk about past relationships. I think that.
Oh my god, I think that's a must, and
That
it
should
also
be happening.
shows you what type of person.
Yeah,
that
but
girl is.
there's a big difference between sitting there like, this is what I did wrong and this is why it didn't work and I've grown from that, and just being like, well, let me tell you the entire Harry Potter book, which I wrote about why it's all his fault. Those are two different things.
I think it...
Because guess what, sweetheart? 10 out of 10 times, you both did something wrong. So if I have to sit there and listen to a hour, 3 hour, 4 hour rant where I'm just having like, yeah, yeah, oh yeah. And the entire time she's just telling me about how everything that ever happened was never her fault. That, to me, that is just like okay, this is not
to me,
you know what I mean?
From that
it's
alone,
like, I want to be in a relationship with you, not with your past. I don't want to be like something that's just your past relationship being lingered on.
Yeah, to me,
that's understandable.
I would say it's like this. It's like when you have baggage, you have two options. You can either grow up or grow down. You're going to either act older because you have baggage and you're going to learn from it, or you're going to act like a perpetual child from having the baggage. Another subject which I want to mention on this, if you are in a relationship, and I feel like so many girls to this day, if you're in a relationship just to have a boyfriend or to be in a relationship, this goes for guys too. Just to have that, that is so despicable, because at the end of the day, the only
intention of a relationship.
Yeah, dating is a courtship. You are courting them to marriage. Okay, so if you were just, I'm just gonna date her, and then next week like we're in kindergarten out here, like, I don't know, my schedule's kind of full this week. I can get you next Wednesday. Like, that's not what dating is about. Okay,
No,
it's a courtship.
cruel.
I think, especially in today's culture, just dating has just changed so much. Like,
Game has changed.
I remember
completely.
back in the day, like, the average people have like 2 to 3, but now, I mean, I know kids.
5 boyfriends.
Yes, I know kids in my church. They'll be in like 6th grade. 6th grade. Oh, how many girls have you had? Like 8.
Yeah.
8. I'll go to some of my friends in sophomore year. Yeah, I think I'm on like my 3rd one this week.
Yeah.
Dating has changed to...
They'll be changing them like Pokemon cards.
No, literally, dating has just changed so much. It's not for marriage anymore. And people, like we said,
It's degenerate.
earlier,
It's because they changed the entire marketplace, where it's not about marriage and family. It's about having sex.
It's just a fact. It's just like you said, achievement. It's just a fact you can say, oh yeah, so I have.
that is a great point. Is that, I think that if you really think about it, if you talk to like a 16-year-old kid that's is dating somebody, you tell this kid, you're like, hey, why are you dating her? what is his answer gonna be?
He'd be like, well, she's pretty.
Like exactly, like it's
She
like
makes me feel good.
yeah, it's like and like if you but what if you ask like a 21-year-old guy, what is he gonna say?
Oh, it's gonna be completely different.
To me, I think at any age, no matter it's 16 or 21, you should understand. If you're able to understand the concept of dating, then you should understand
when you should
the
be
concept that you are looking for a life partner. Okay, like a partner that is your partner. Like this is not a willy-nilly decision. Also, I think that there is a difference between knowing that this is the one and rushing into a marriage.
Oh my goodness.
Huge difference. Okay, there's a big difference between those two things because in a lot of cases, I think that women feel like. They're afraid to lose this guy, so they agree to marry him just so they don't lose him, or they agree to do things that are against their morals so they don't lose him. And that to me is just like
wrong.
You know, it's so wrong. It's I don't understand.
People need to be more principled.
Yeah, I think that if people would be more principled,
and it's just going to create more problems for your children.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I think a lot of people forget. You know, obviously you date to marry. But you gotta remember, like we talked about before.
This has long-term consequences.
The woman that you're gonna marry is going to be the mother of your kids.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people just kind of forget about that. Like they're so quick to rush into a relationship. Like, well, she has this problem now, and there'll be big problems. We all have problems in relationship. Everybody has problems. But there'll be these really, really bad red flags. And but yeah, they haven't. But like, I really like her. I'm like, but. You gotta remember, like this is gonna be the mother of your daughter and the mother of your son. And they're gonna be the examples that they're gonna look at. Yeah. Do you really want that to be their example? Right. You know what I mean? A lot of people just think of the short term of dating and not the long term.
It's just so many people want to, you know, it's really an objectification because you have urges and you want to act upon your urges, but really it's about two souls coming together and becoming one.
Yeah. That's a great point. I feel like we said,
that's not the intention. You've corrupted something that was good and made it evil.
Yeah, I think that there should be the desire for that, but if that is the sole purpose of which you want to get married,
my goodness, for any physical, absolutely not.
And I think that
shotgun weddings.
Yeah,
like that's not the purpose of marriage.
Now I will say that I have no problem with if someone gets engaged after 2 or 3 months, and like if the guy's like, I know this is the one, go for it. But at the same time, I think that there's a difference between you being certain that this is the one because you don't want to lose her, you want her for the rest of her life, and being like, man, I have temptations and I have to give in to them.
Those are different things. I think it really matters on your intentions.
Yeah, 100%.
100%.
And that's the real thing is that a lot of guys have the wrong intentions.
And I think, to me, like, I can't think of many things that would be more, like, the worse. Can you imagine, you having kids and then you getting a divorce and you having, like, these young kids and they never knew what it was like to have mom and dad together?
Oh, my goodness. And not only that, I mean, we all know the studies. Broken families. And mind you, that goes into generational. Broken families just never work out.
Yeah.
Ever.
It takes a long time to fix it.
Oh, my goodness. And it just... I dare say, don't quote me on this. I dare say there are probably almost more broken homes averagely in America than there ever has been.
Oh, it's not even close.
Not even close, yeah.
And it's just like...
And by the way, America and Europe, there's the most broken homes in the world in history. And I think particularly in America, it's probably the worst anywhere in the world.
And I would like to say this, that...
In terms of the average, when you compare it to a country that is... quote unquote as rich and prosperous as America, that we could have such a terrible family situation.
A broken home situation is disgusting.
And and then they proliferate it.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, it's okay.
Yeah.
But they don't. We need to change. We need to revert back to the actual.
It used to be a crime to have an affair.
Principles of what a relationship should look like.
Because if you think about it, it should be a crime to have an affair.
Oh my goodness, it should be hands down.
You signed a legal documentation to another person, so now you
voided a legal document.
Yeah, that is a crime, and now they've literally made it legal to where it's like if you were to
you used to go to jail for trying to get a divorce.
Like in today's culture, if someone says, "Oh, so and so are getting a divorce," it's like, "Oh, that's kind of sad." But back then, like in like the 50s and 60s,
it was downed upon. It was downed upon.
I mean, it would have been the talk of the town for like a week.
It was scandalous.
It'd be like, they're getting a what now? Like that wasn't a common thing.
You had to go out of country and go to special places. I would
like to mention this because I think this is all because you have a legal documentation that says you are divorced. That does not mean that you are divorced in the eyes of God. Okay, because at the end of the day, if you have not done what it claims in the Bible, which must happen for you to have the grounds for divorce. By getting so, you're not breaking the contract with God. Okay, you're still married. The
only way you can get divorced is if your spouse invalidates the contract.
Exactly.
If they break the contract, you cannot break the contract.
Yeah.
Your spouse has to break.
They
the
have
contract.
to do, yes. So to me, it's, I don't think people understand that. And the sad part is, do you know how many people there probably are out there that have got remarried, but yet they are still married to their first partner in the eyes of the Lord, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, I just think that's really
What? Because you couldn't talk
Spiritually,
about
just a lot mixed
finances.
up.
You got
Yeah.
divorced because you couldn't see eye to eye on finances.
And to touch on the thing that we said
or where you wanted
earlier,
to live, like,
Like, come on.
to touch on the thing that we said earlier, I just think it's so normalized. To one, social media has to do a lot with it. But like, you know how normalized cheating is now?
yeah.
Like,
Oh my
just even
goodness.
outside of marriage, in general, you know how normalized cheating and divorce is now. It's just kind of like you just said. It's just kind of like,
Or
oh dang,
living with your partner that you're not married to.
Yo, that is crazy.
I can't believe how normal that is.
Yeah.
Oh, they're live-ins. Oh, they're, girlfriend and boyfriend. I'm like, how is that? When did that become a socially acceptable thing?
I don't know when that became
About
social.
50 years ago, about 60s or 70s. Is when
I
it
don't, but I
started
don't
being pushed.
see. To me, like honestly, if it was two really good friends that were not sexually attracted at all, and they lived in two separate rooms of a house, that still would be very weird to me.
Yeah, if they're it's man and a woman, yeah, that's very weird.
Yeah, like I would find it. I honestly kind of see in a lot of ways it's just a weird situations. A lot of situations, like, oh, I live in a house with 4 other people, and some of them are different gender. Like, that's just weird. Like, so 3 of them are
if you're
females
living with
and-
some of your bros, I don't see anything wrong with
yeah,
it.
but it's like when it's intersex. Like,
Yeah, I know. I didn't get. I'm just saying.
that's weird to me. Like,
That's
why?
Especially for a male, I'm sorry, we all have those temptations.
yeah.
Why
I mean,
for me?
Why would you put
Yeah,
yourself?
why
in that
would you put yourself in
situation?
a situation where those temptations have a chance of
You're just making it harder for
And the
you.
Lord literally says run away from those type of
Yeah, it's
temptations.
better to cut
He did-
your.
Yeah, he didn't say
He
fight.
says it's like better to cut your eye out.
Yeah, he doesn't say fight at all. He says run away from those type of temptations.
Yeah.
Or cut your hand. Or is it your eye or your hand?
He says anything that causes you to stumble, it's
Yeah.
better to cut it
Yeah,
off.
so
than
your
to
eye
cut
or
it.
your hand.
Yeah. So I mean, at the end of the day, I think there's a lot to be said about baggage. I think that, back at the general subject of it is, if it's not, there's a difference between having some baggage and having over the top. To me, I think once you get to a specific amount of partners in your lifetime, you got to be like, okay, I need to step back. And I just got to stop trying and just let it come to me, because me trying to do this, and I think that's very important. I think when you're young, that's a very hard thing to do, is be like, man, see all my friends, having girlfriends, and man, I just,
That's a little
all this type of thing.
a little too right there.
No, I had something I wanted to say. That was a little
And so
controversial.
instead you're just kind of like, I mean, I'm just gonna be single. It's hard to say whenever you want to be involved
Oh
with
my
it.
goodness, 100%.
So I think at the end of the day, that takes a lot of strength. And I will say to anybody that actually has the strength to do that, you'll get yours. I mean,
100%.
you'll get yours.
God will provide
So,
you a woman or man.
Yeah.
And I think that
be
comes back to
patient.
putting your trust in God.
Yeah.
Like, I know my past relationships, no ill will upon them, but a lot of them, like, I chose out of my own will. Like, I know for a fact, like, it's because I wanted to. I didn't pray about it, nothing, because I was impatient. And I think, like I said, that comes back to the trust in God. I'm telling you, God will find you a partner. All you got to do is wait and be ready.
Also, I think there's a difference between older couples bickering and a young couple. When a young
Yes.
couple bickers, it's like, this isn't going to work. You know what I mean? It's like, this is not this. You're building your house upon sand. What happens when you build your house upon sand, right? When the water comes in,
crashes.
it's going to wash it away. You need to be building it on something that's sturdy, and it's not going to, like, it's just, this isn't smart. So I think a lot of the stuff with baggage comes from, I rush into something, it doesn't work, so I'm gonna rush to the next thing and see if it works. I mean, that's
I got
about,
a produce analogy, Noah, because I know you'd be loving your fruit. When you go to the store, you want the fresh fruit. You don't want the old fruit.
No, you don't. You want the fresh, the
groceries.
juiciest,
I want fresh groceries. I don't want
straight off the
garbage.
vine.
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah.
Straight from the tree.
and I mean, yeah. Anything else you want to add to baggage?
No, I think we touched on it pretty good.
Next up is good wife and mother. So I think when you're looking for a partner, you obviously should be looking to marry. I think that is pretty said. But there's like A1 and A2. Okay, not the steak sauce either. When I'm talking about A2, that would be, I know, right? That was a good dad joke right there. I'm talking about motherhood. Okay, to me, if you were looking for a spouse, as a woman, you should be looking for someone that you'd say this would be a good dad, and a guy should be saying, I'm looking for someone that'd be a good mother. Because to me, I can't, a lot of people, I feel like they get into a situation where they're dating or they're married to someone they got with because they had a lustful desire for them, and not because they liked them for what their actual skills as a person were.
Yes.
And due to that causes terrible mothers and terrible wives, and it leads to divorce. It leads to broken homes, children and getting put up for adoption. Children getting aborted, which that's murder. I mean, there's just I think that, to me, I can't think of nothing better. Like, can you imagine coming in from working your job and you walk into your house to, the dog's running up to you, your kids running up to you, and then you have your wife in the kitchen say, "Oh, dinner's almost on the table." I mean, that right there, just like
apron and everything.
Yeah,
oh,
just like that right there is just the idea of like that right. Like, to me, cool. You know what, Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, have your trillions of dollars, your billions of dollars. I don't want it. That's all I want. You know what I mean? I just want
happy family.
I want a happy family. You know what I mean? So to me, I don't see where the idea of, being independent is stupid. Being independent is a stupid thing, okay? Sitting here and being like, oh.
It's a very childish mindset.
Yeah, I don't care if you're a man or if you're a female. Being independent and not wanting to.
Oh, yeah, both ways.
Yeah.
Both ways, by the way. Both ways.
It's one thing to live independent. It's another thing to, like that's what you want for your life.
Yeah.
And I think there are certain people who are given the gift of celibacy.
Yeah, and it talks about in the Bible that if you don't feel like you're fit and you need to focus on God more, than
I think we need to realize that that's a very small amount of people.
Yeah, of course. There's always
that is an exception, not the rule. The most people have the desire to want to get married and have children and have a wife and have a family.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have a hard time, like you'll talk to some people and you're like, well, have you thought about it, like from a side of like what they would be like a mother, and they're like, no, we don't have kids. You're dating them.
You're going to.
What do you?
Mind you, they'll be 2 years, 1 year in the relationship.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got to.
To me, it's like, dude, I'm processing this kind of information before I would even consider.
When you meet a woman,
I have a question for y'all. When y'all date y'all's future women, when do you think you'll bring that conversation up? Do you think that will come naturally, or you are going to go out of your way to ask that question? I'm curious.
Within the first couple of weeks.
Within the first 2
So
weeks.
y'all are going to go out of your way to ask that?
Within 2 weeks.
Because I think
I feel like it's unfair for both if you don't set a basis on what your expectations.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Both of you need to set your expectations
Before they even date, that should be one of the
because
first things.
the longer you go into the relationship without the honesty being present, it's just going to create damage for both people. Everybody's involved.
I'll touch on that more later.
These aren't equated. Now, in your life, the biggest decision you make is baptism. The second one is who you're going to marry. Okay, so on the topic of baptism, I believe when you've discovered the Word of God and you understand the gospel and you know it's the correct thing to do, you should act then. I believe on the same kind of thing when it comes to your partner. When you discover that this is the one you want to be with the rest of your life, and I don't care about finances, I don't care about job, I don't care about where you're at in life, I don't care if this is the woman, do not let her slip by your. Just do it.
Especially in this generation, trust. Take the win. Trust. Take the shot from the moon.
Yeah,
please.
Yeah. So to me, it's like my whole thought process is, I think that I will have a very short engagement. Like I wouldn't. I think the woman that I will marry, I will have known her less than a year when I get married to her. Yeah, I really do. Like I think within the year of meeting her, I will be married to her.
Probably maybe even half a year.
Yeah, like I think I just feel like that's how, because that's just the way I think. And so, to me, I think that it's very important that these are conversations that would be brought up early. Probably even before I would date someone. Like I would have to know.
Yeah, it would have to be like,
it's
more of like you're negotiating a contract. Like, are we actually going to be in a relationship?
Yeah.
There has to be like,
judging
there
by
has
the
to be
answer
a
to
certain
tell you
amount of
also.
commitment. You have to be equally yoked. You have the same intentionality in the relationship that I'm going to put, because if I'm going to be in a relationship, I'm going to put everything I got into it.
Ladies, we are all three single.
By the way, yes. Yes.
Can you imagine? Phone numbers in the comment section below. Do not put your phone number in the comment section.
Unless you have a chaperone, of course.
Unless you have to have two lovely ladies along with you, making it 3 numbers.
Yeah. Bro, put your father in the chat too, bro.
Yeah. I mean, that will be talked about later. So, I mean, at the end of the day, when it comes to the idea of a good wife and a good mother, I think that when you think from the wife,
you just turned off the worst women possible.
Yeah, from the wife side of perspective of things, I would say, if you're a female and you are wanting to pursue getting in a relationship that would lead to marriage, not just saying the statement, "Oh, I want to date for marriage," but legitimately
living that
by
out
your
too,
actions.
It's
showing.
more than just saying, "I want to date."
Yeah,
for marriage.
it's more than just saying it. There's actions in the back.
There are actions involved.
Yeah.
That's so petty.
So with that being said, I think that all ties into the fact that, when you're actually living like that when you're looking for a man, that you're looking at the same side of things, mother and wife. And by you bringing up these questions about, what would you do in this situation as a father, as a husband, that will show him that you're emotionally mature enough that you think about these things. And then from the side of a motherhood, I have a hard time believing that it's been like this my entire life. So I would feel like for a woman, they have to dream about being a mother their entire life, right?
If my future girlfriend is not baby crazy, I don't know if I would. To me, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Question, this is not going to be talked about, and this would go into the subject, so I'm just going to ask you.
Yeah.
After getting married,
Yeah.
how quick will you have a child?
We haven't talked about this. Oh, snap.
I'd probably wait 6 to 9 months.
That's not crazy.
Okay.
I want to have a basis for the marriage first.
Yeah, before I have kids, I want to be like legitly married to her. Like you know what I mean.
We need to get get through the honeymoon.
You're not going to like my comment.
I don't. I'm gonna be honest
I know
though.
this is gonna be
I'm gonna be
short.
honest though.
Uh-huh.
It is hard to get through the honeymoon phase.
So what I will say on this is,
I have another question for after this.
Okay.
I know what he's gonna say.
what
by
I
the
have
way.
to say on this is, I said that I believe I will.
Hey, let's just leave it up to the Lord.
I would like for y'all to listen to what I have to say on this subject. I said that I will probably meet the woman I will marry and then marry her within a year.
Oh my gosh.
I think within less than 2 years of meeting this woman, I will have a child with her.
Map that out for me real quick because I'm slow. So you're
I would say.
Wait, no. So you're gonna date her? So how many?
I would say date her for 2 to 4 months.
2 to 4 months.
Engaged.
And get. Wow. Okay. Okay. Go.
Engaged. Like another month or 2 married. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And then there's 9 months to have a baby after that. Okay. So
Wait, in those 9 months, like
You're having a honeymoon.
there's
baby.
gonna be a honey.
Okay,
I
okay.
imagine. To me, stop. This is the thing. I need y'all to listen to me here. Okay.
I mean, the Lord
Look,
will do.
Yeah. This is the thing.
Oh my.
I think.
Why
Stop.
are you speedrunning?
Because I gotta make sure. I gotta make sure that nothing. Like, to me, it's very important that I have children, so I can make sure that I'm not the one that kills off my family's last name. Okay.
Holy, what am I running lobbies? What?
Yes, to me, it's like, look, if I was to somehow die or somehow be like disabled, I don't want to have to be like in a wheelchair for the rest of my life, thinking, man, I didn't have a child. I want to make sure that I have locked that down. Okay. I gotta make sure that's locked
As
down.
much as I want to disagree, that's not crazy to say though. That's not crazy to say.
So to me, it's like, people are like, oh, a honeymoon, oh, you guys are doing, that's not the thought process of it at all.
Well, what happens in a honeymoon phase stays in a honeymoon phase.
Besides a child. That's
comes out
So
of
you
much
bring that
later.
with you. You bring that with
Yeah.
you.
Okay, so the question, this is gonna get a bit. No, it's not. We're a grown man here. Are y'all gonna plan your child?
I think.
A certain
Or
step.
does that depend on like what?
No, this is my thought process.
Okay,
on it.
yeah, I'm curious.
Sexual relations, the
Uh-huh.
point of a sexual relations is to have a child.
Okay.
Point
Yeah.
blank, period.
Yeah.
So if you were.
Oh, that's what you're talking. I thought you were talking about
If
your
you were
child's
having.
development.
No.
Like,
If you were having sexual intercourse with your
Yeah.
wife.
You need to be mentally
the
ready to
family
have
planning.
The point of that is to have a child.
Yeah, I believe in
Okay.
family planning.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't
Wait,
believe it.
wait. Okay, I get you. I could elaborate. I'm confused.
The point of sexual
So you're with him.
intercourse. Is
Okay, so y'all are not gonna sit there and be like,
procreation.
Cause you know some people.
I'll talk more.
I'm very
depth
extreme.
about. I'll
Yeah,
talk
I'm
more
just-
in depth about this subject off air.
Which is fine. That's okay.
Yeah, because of
Yeah,
I don't know what goes against the guidelines.
This might be demonetized. I do not know what goes against the guidelines. We will find out together. This is a Christian podcast, and we're giving you great Christian
But
content
these
right
are
now.
opinions. Can I?
Yeah.
Like, cause I know there's a. few
I
people-
would be considered an extremist for my opinion.
Like
I would too.
Like for
I'm
me,
very much what I consider to be anti-degeneracy.
like this sounds. In the ideal world, I would want my kid's age to match with my sister's kid's age, if it was ideal.
Look, I don't think it's a sin, but some of the things. But let's just say me and Solomon do not see eye to eye.
Okay. Yeah, that's enough. People go read the Bible. That's,
I say it took me a second, but I feel what you mean. But yeah, okay. I was curious on what y'all's thoughts were on that.
Yeah, no, So I mean, to me, at the end of the day, when it goes into wife, mother, all that kind of thing, that like, I think that a woman should To me, stop. I don't want to offend anybody. I'm not trying to offend anybody.
Mm-hmm.
If this offends you, that's probably good. That makes you think and think you have your priorities in check. Your number one priority, once the time that you hit probably like 16, 17, you're going into adulthood, you should start thinking about this and be prepared for it. That your number one goal is not going to college, not getting a job, not living where you want to live, not doing whatever career you want to do. It is finding a husband to lead you, and you want to be a mother to children. That right there should be, okay? Because at the end of the day...
exact same for
Pause.
For men, it should be to be a husband and be a leader.
Before all that, though, pray about it, though. Pray for a woman like that.
Pray about it.
Pray for a woman like that. Pray for a man like that.
There's a difference.
Patient.
Like I said,
patient.
there's a difference between doing what is the right thing to do because it's the right thing to do and doing it from like a rush standpoint.
And there's nothing wrong with getting a job or going to college and stuff.
Yeah, no, there's nothing.
No,
that should not be your priority.
But that should never come in between. If you,
your
I'm too
career
busy
should
at school.
Your career should never take
If a
priority.
man or a woman ever tells me, if I was a woman and a man told me they were too busy at school, if a woman told me they're too busy at school,
that's a red flag.
That's a red flag.
No, it's not only a red flag; it's immediately elimination.
Yeah, to me,
That's an instant.
No, we're not compatible.
To me, they're over. Now they're saying me getting married while I'm at my like prime to have children and like use the young years of my life to be happy and have a family. And I don't want to do that. Instead, I'm going to live for myself and be independent. And,
it's selfish.
Yeah. I stand by that. There's a lot of people are going to get very offended by this, and I understand.
And please leave your comment. We would.
Yeah, we want to hear about what y'all
and like
think.
I said, I promise. Please, no rude stuff. Just people talking.
Yeah.
I would love to hear y'all's opinions.
Yeah.
But
We would all love to hear your opinions.
Glad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, next topic is Dawson on the topic of her family.
Her family. Well, it takes a village to raise a child, and you can't raise a child by yourself. With just you and your wife. Your family is going to play an important role, and necessarily so you need to check her family. You are going to become a part of their family. They're going to become a part of your family. You're going to see them at you're going to see them at Christmas. You're going to see them at Thanksgiving. You're going to see them at functions for the rest of your life. So I think it's really important to pick a good family because
that's gonna be
you don't want to dread. These people are going to be the family of your children. They're going to be blood relation to your close blood relation to your children.
Yeah.
These are going to be the grandparents of your children. Their aunts, their uncles. It's important to find a good family.
I'm going to let you take in a minute because I know you're going to have a lot to say on this. This is a little bit more lighthearted. I think the Lord knew what he was doing when he did not give me a sister, because the amount of men that I would have done some horrible things to by this point, if I had a sister, would have probably been uncanny. So to me, I've always thought of it I think it'd be really cool to marry someone that had a sister, so that way I could inherit a sister. Because I've always wanted a brother-sister connection. And I don't know, I feel like I'd be one of those people that if I had that connection with somebody, oh my goodness, I'm telling you right now, if my future wife somehow comes across this video and stumbles across this, if they did have a sister, I am so sorry for your sister, because she's about to get the most Jim Dwight office pranks you've ever seen. I'm about to I'm gonna think I'm the funniest dude.
It's because you had time to think about what you want to do. You've been playing it out.
No, and if I was to inherit another brother, from that standpoint, I think that'd be cool as well to have, I already have brother relationships. So, I have a little biological brother. There's a few other friends that are so close, I consider them to be brothers. But on the topic of that, I think when you talk about family, people always want to mention the parents, but I think it's just as equal as to mention their siblings. And that's what I wanted to touch on.
Siblings you're more likely to spend a longer time with.
Yeah, because of course you are. And to me, in my lifetime, some of the closest, biggest, people that I have cherished in my life have been aunts and uncles. Some of the people that I've been really close with. My dad had 3 sisters. I was very close with one of them, insanely, tight knit. And then on my mom's side, I'm very close with her brothers and their families. Because you got to remember that whoever her siblings are, their kids are going to be your kids' cousin. Those are they're running buddies. You know what I mean? They are going to see each other and going to be hanging around a lot.
And you want their running buddies to have good examples.
And at the end of the day, you happy wife, happy life. So you're going to spend time at Thanksgiving, at Christmas with these people. So you got to be making sure you're making a good choice on who you marry, because that's important. Now on the other side of this, when it comes to parents, I would like to be the guy that whenever I show up with roses for her, I want to be able to give roses to the mom.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I want to have a mother-son connection with her, to where she's like a second mother to me, where, she trusts me, my judgment, and she's going to be happy for me to be with, that I'm the one leading her daughter. And on a father standpoint, I want there to be a mutual, unsaid, but it's there respect between me and the father, to where, he trusts me with his daughter, and I'm able to trust him with how he has raised her up to this point, because he only gets the first 18 years or
Yeah.
however long. However long it is until I come along. You know, say it's 20 whatever years. Whenever, you know, that's how long he gets to raise her. So then when I come along, I'm not taking this over. Now this is mine, and I'm gonna have her a lot longer. So I have to really trust in how
Hopefully.
hopefully.
Lord willing.
Lord willing.
Yeah.
Lord willing.
More than likely. But I mean, those are very, you know, it's really a game of tug of war to where neither person has to in, but you got to get to where the line is just straddling perfectly in between to where, hey, I trust you fully and you trust me
There needs to
fully.
be a transition period.
Yeah. And so, you know,
Handoff.
I think that, you know, I've always wondered, like, will I cry at my own wedding? Like, will I
know
cry?
I will.
I think I will
Probably.
I will keep it together when she comes down the aisle. I think when I see her come down the aisle, I don't think I would cry. I think when I shake the father's hand, it'll set in. I think that'll be the moment that'll set in.
I don't know when, but I know I'm crying.
Because also I'll be crying a little bit like, man, if I screw up this dude's gonna be mad.
It'll be more of a.
Carson, don't mess up, buddy.
You know, you think there'll be an element of, oh wow, it's finally here.
That is gonna be the night. I think that's like the night before. The night before is gonna be.
You know, I'm not gonna get any sleep. I know I'm not.
I won't get sleep at y'all's weddings. Like
I'm gonna be so excited for y'all's wedding.
yeah, like I'm just saying, like I will
Don't let me
be.
touch the mic.
No, yeah. You're gonna be higher. You're gonna like hire an electrician. You're like stand to the
I
pound.
just hope you don't have too much sugar in your bloodstream.
It's not gonna matter. It's gonna be. Boy,
Yeah.
You're gonna be doing backflips.
At most weddings, they have first dances. At yours, you're gonna have a first basketball one-on-one game.
What I want to get is what's her dad? What he keeps on.
You win, boy. You could have her hand. Can you imagine? You'd be out there, Michael Jordan out here. So, anyways, yeah, I think that's very important. Family. Anything else? Oh, no, you haven't even talked on this. Unless you
Okay,
have.
so I can't go too much in detail. Probably in future episodes, I'll go more into detail. But like, I'm pretty sure for legal weekends, I can't. But I do not. I have a lot of family, especially on my dad's side. But I don't talk to them like at all. I haven't talked to them since
2017, 2016. About 10 years now.
About 10 years, and a lot of them, they have kids, and I never met them. There's stuff that happened in the family where we just do not talk to them. And on my mom's side, she has a brother. I have an uncle, but his wife can't have kids, so it's not like I have cousins on that side.
Yeah, so you don't really have any cousins.
So like obviously they're still my family, but but they're not, because I don't see my dad's side. And that's the only side that has kids, family, and all that. They're all that. But my mom's side, there's nobody. It's her brother, and that's it. And he don't have any kids because the wife can't have children. So since I was what was it? When did all that happen? Like 12? When I was like 12? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
About 12.
So all these years, and I mean, I haven't really had it. Like, for example, when I do Thanksgiving, Christmas.
Mind you, you're already adopted.
Yeah, y'all didn't know I'm adopted. Yeah. I am raised in a white household. I'm Caucasian household. I'm blessed to be in it. But yeah, so I really didn't have like necessarily a family. So like during Christmas, Thanksgiving, all that, I don't have family come over. We have people from church who come over, my spiritual family, and they come over. So I don't have the luxury of like having a real tight bond with my cousins and all the other stuff. So we were talking about this, we were planning out episodes, and when we were planning it out, I realized that like when I have kids, they won't have like other you know what I mean? Yeah. Like they won't have that huge family tree. Like the tree really stops at me and my siblings. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I have a sister who has Down syndrome, so the likelihood of her having kids is low. I have one blood sister, and then I have an older brother. But I just don't have the luxury of having a really big family tree. So one big thing for me that might not be big or as important to other people is having a wife that has a big family. Like I want a wife that has a very large, loving family, because not saying my family is not, lovely or anything, but like
you want more.
Yeah, I didn't get the luxury of genuinely growing.
You want your kids to have that.
Yeah, I want my kids to have that. I didn't have the luxury of having, like, getting really close with cousins. A lot of people do matching pajamas. Like y'all said, the football games that y'all had. Like, I never had.
We got the pajamas too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I never had that luxury of growing up and experiencing that, and I just don't want that for my kids. So a really huge thing for me, like a really big, I dang near say it's top 3 is having a wife. Future wife that has a huge family that's loving, because sadly I didn't get to have exactly that as I was growing up into my teen years. So like, and I like at the beginning, like mind you, this like I said, I think the last time my son was 12. It's been like 8, 9, 10, 11 years. But that's something I want to say is a big thing for me is having a wife that has a huge family, so my kids can experience that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And to me, I mean, I hope that I marry into a family that's so good to where like we have joint Christmases with like
Oh my goodness,
her
yes.
family and my family. Can you imagine like if she had like 3 siblings? I have a blood sibling and then an adopted sibling. If there's like 6 pairs of siblings there and all of their family, and then the grandparents, and it's just this massive like there's like 20 cousins, and there's like just people everywhere you look, and you're in a house like just filled with joy. That would be like that'd be so cool to me. You know what I mean?
It'd be, like what can you wish for more?
Yeah,
that
exactly.
Is peak.
Like I just feel like it'd be like so much fun just to be in that environment, and like that you're around good people, that your kids are being raised right, because the saying "it takes a village" is true. But at the same time, I would like to mention this because this hasn't been talked about. I do not think that if they don't, I think if a woman comes from not the greatest of family, not a huge family, or has family problems, that is not a deal breaker to me. To me, if they meet the other criteria, they meet the majority of the criteria of what I need in a woman, really the main things that are important, that's one thing that I'd be like, they weren't as fortunate. Because, for example, you're one of my best friends, and you weren't fortunate to have just like a big family. You have a great family, like your dad's like my second dad to me. So it's like, even though you might not have as big of a family, even having a smaller family, you can still be a good person.
100%,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So that's the kind of thing to where if she came from a small family and didn't have as big of a family, that wouldn't be like,
I mean, in a certain
I don't know, I got to break up with you now. You know what I
in
mean?
a certain way, it's not as big a deal for me as it is for Carson because I already have a family.
Yeah.
And I would if I've met a woman that had met all the qualifications, I thought would be a good wife. I think it'd be great to be able to give her a family.
Yeah, I think that's also a good point. Yeah. I don't know if I want to say that because they might use that against me. I was about to say I have no problem spending every year at my family's house, and now I think about that, that might. I don't know.
Wouldn't.
I got some cousins. I got to see how they turn out before I want to be around them every Thanksgiving. Yeah, 35-year-old me might be out there. I'll sling the rock. I'm like, I'm good. Shoot some skeet. I'm like, yeah, man, you were wearing no pants. Okay, let's come down there. I have a cousin named Texas, and that's all I got to say on that topic.
Texas is, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
The stories I've heard.
We were waiting.
Yeah, we
We're
love you,
being
Tex.
patient.
With that being said, our next topic is communication by Noah.
Communication. Now, a lot of y'all
Settle into your seats.
Yeah. A lot of y'all that are watching are my homegirls, and I love every single one of y'all. All of y'all. And y'all know who I'm talking about.
70,000 of you. We love you all.
But I think
71,000.
the biggest thing that ruins a relationship is communication. Is no communication. When I want to have my future girlfriend, which will be my future wife, I want to be able to go to her and say anything I need to say. Stuff that's deep from the heart, stuff that's light, problems, anything. And a big problem is that, like, my biggest fear is having a woman who can't do that. Like, I can't go to and invent
An emotionally mature woman.
or even bigger is when we get into fights. I don't want a girl, a future wife, that when we're both bickering, we're both having a problem, and I say something, she's, well, I need time alone, and they walk away, and we just don't talk for days or whatever. To me personally, that's one of the big, like, that's an instant no for me. Like, if we're dating, I'll break up with you right then and there.
Yeah.
Because I've been in a few past relationships where I wish I would have done it earlier, but it just did not work out. Because, I mean, how are you going to fix a problem if you can't even talk about the problem?
Right.
You know what I mean? And if you
like what's wrong? And they're like, I don't want to talk about it.
nothing. Like, to me, it's just like, why would you not want to talk about it so we can work on it together to fix it together as a couple?
We can be patient. It doesn't have to be an immediate fix.
You know what I'm saying? I'm okay. Like, I know some of you are like, well, people need their time. Yes, obviously. But it's one thing to need your time and then need your time and be stubborn and not tell me what the problem is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this goes for both boys and girls. It has to go both ways. You know what I mean? Because, there's a few more guys who,
You can be patient.
That's what I'm saying. It's the
And
patience.
You can communicate and still practice the fruits.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, I'll let you expand on this more. But basically, like, a big thing for me is having a wife that I can go to and I know I could talk to through my heart without her getting offended or the first thing. Because a lot of people, the first thing they think of, they look for something that makes them mad. It's not that, okay, what he said, I'm going to take that in. I want to process that. Now, how can we fix this together? It's always, but that's not true because you missed the whole point that I was trying to get at. You're focused on this one thing. When if you're focused on everything, we were communicating. we could have fixed the problem a long time ago.
Yeah.
So a big thing for me, it should be for anybody, is having that communication where you can say, obviously respectfully, say to your wife, your husband, anybody, just any problem, and they can listen to you, and you can sit there, hold hands, and y'all can talk it out with not too much. Of course, you're gonna fight. Bickering is gonna happen in a relationship. A good relationship is gonna have bickering.
Yeah.
But the relationship that stays are the ones who don't just sweep it under the rug and save it for later. The ones that fix it in that, you know, in that time period. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. You want to go first, or you want me to?
You can go.
You know, to me, I think, you know, it's like there's the big sister, right? And every single night, little brother comes into her room and comes and lays in bed with her, and he cries and says, you know, mom and dad are in there fighting. Every night, mom and dad are in there fighting, you know. And then the one day he comes in there, and this time he's just more distraught than they've ever been. And she's like, what's wrong? And he's like, they're not fighting. You know, that's when it gets dangerous, to where, you know, they've got to the point to where they're not even, they don't care enough to fight. Like, the communication has got to where it is such a bad thing that you do not care enough to take the time to try to correct the issue, to where you're just like, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? I think that's right there. That's like, if I hear of that, like in a marriage, like they're not even, like, to me, I've heard that a few times, like they're not even fighting anymore. That's like, oh my goodness. Like,
You know,
like,
something's,
like that's on the brink of destruction. So to me, it's like, communication's very important. I think, you know, now I think there's limits to what you have to communicate. I do not think, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick. You know what I mean? There's a difference between, you know, like some communication, you don't need to know every little detail of what they're doing, but at the same time, it's like, you need to be.
There needs to be a certain amount of trust.
There needs to be trust, yeah, to where, you know, like, you're aware of what's going on a day-to-day basis with each other, to where it's not going to be a problem. Because, like, I already know it's going to happen. I'm prepared. I've already prepared myself for Carson, if you find this in 20 years from now, you've already admitted to preparing yourself for this.
No excuses.
No excuse. Oh, man.
Your wife
use this one.
Ammo for sure.
Oh, but, yeah, anyways, I'm sorry, bud. I'm about to cook you on this one. But, you know, you got to prepare it for whenever you come into the house and like, oh, we got to leave in 5 minutes for such and such. You're like, what? Like, what? And like, yeah, you know, we planned this 3 weeks ago. And you're like, no, we didn't. And she's like, I told you about it, blah, 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 blah. You don't even listen to me. And they get all mad. You start to fight. And you're just like, oh, well, you know, I kind of wanted to go lay on the bed in the underwear and eat nachos, but I guess I'm going to this now. So I think that you got to be prepared to, you know,
Communicate beforehand.
But also in the case of when there's like something that's missed or skewed over, that you're able to like be able to think on the fly as the leader of the household, to be like, oh, okay. You know,
my bad.
My bad. You know, it was an issue, but we all make some mistakes. Let's fix this and keep it going. So anyways, also, yet again, on the topic of fights, I just think that when it comes to fighting, when I'm looking for a wife, I'm looking for a wife. I'm not looking for an actress. So I don't want the person that's going to act like they're angry. I don't want to talk about it. You know, like put their back to you. No, don't touch me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to talk to you. That right there is like, really?
And the example that it gives to your daughter. You know,
yeah, like you got to remember.
Alone is a big thing too.
You got to remember that if you have daughters and you have daughters, if you have sons looking up to mom and dad. Hey, how did they do that? You know, what are they doing in their relationship? Because at the end of the day, you want to leave healthy habits for them when they get old enough to them wanting to be in a relationship to where they can continue to date. Because we got to be honest, each generation has less and less good Christian people in it. And you do not want to be one of the people that contributes to that, right? You want to be someone that contributes to it staying alive. Yeah, to where we can continue God's word being spread through the act of, you know, the word. And the only way that's going to happen is by having families that have children that continue that in their offspring.
So that's by good example.
Yeah, and I think that all goes back to communication. I think that
that as men, a lot of times we have to be the one that's patient in the situation and be responsible for trying to absolve the issues.
Yeah.
And sometimes women don't want the issues to actually be solved.
And
yes.
I've argued this, and it is equally, if not harder, to be a woman than it is to be a man, because from a woman's
they're different challenges.
Yeah, from a man's perspective, you have to. I think the majority of men are. I would say good men that want to do good and actually are smart. A lot of them,
true men.
You really have to learn the ability to think on the fly. Like you have to be able to analyze whatever situation you're in, and you have to be able to figure out how to take this situation into account to now figure out a solution for such a situation.
Not only think on the fly, but also have a support system around you where you know who to reach out to.
Yeah, and sometimes, you know, as the man of the household, you got to be, all right, this is what we're doing. That's the end of the discussion. This is not to be discussed anymore. And on the women's side of the standpoint, you got to be able to be strong enough and have the strength enough to show your daughters that whenever your husband puts his foot down and said, "This is what's happening," that you don't say, "Well, no, it's not." You got to be like, "Okay, you know what? I did make the decision to marry this man, and by doing so, I've put my trust in his decision making."
Yep.
And so that all goes into communication of how you communicate with one another and how you trust one another in your decision making. Anything else?
I was about to say that. I mean, if you have good communication in the girlfriend boyfriend stage, I mean that's gonna lead straight over into marriage.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like if it's bad here, it's gonna be bad here.
Yeah.
It
You gotta
doesn't.
fix it here before you get to
Communication does not change. It's one of the few things that's very hard
Exactly.
to
That's
change.
why it has to.
It has to have a solid foundation.
And of course, communication, especially in the
It's
beginning of
about
a relationship.
practicing healthy habits.
Yeah, it's gonna take a while for you to learn your significant others.
all of the eccentricities of the.
Mind you, girls, he's single. If you want him, he's right here. He's the perfect man. But communication, it has to start early. It has to be something that it should be worked on immediately into a relationship.
Girls aren't even that hard to figure
They're
out.
not. I think they're pretty easy to understand.
Said
you
no
don't
man
understand-
ever.
Hey, if you don't understand them, just call a friend.
Yeah. So we started by talking about kindness. You want to have a woman that is hospitable to outsiders as well as insiders, but specifically how are you perceived by others in your area. And I really always think of kind of like the small town thing where the people in the small town, like, oh, the so and so's, oh, of course I do. Oh, their wife is so we then talked about baggage and how much baggage do they have in their life. How many past relationships do they have? Do they make a good wife and a mother? Are they going to be someone that's going to be strong for your kids, as an example? Are they going to be someone that can stand beside you in hard times? Do they come from good roots? Do they know the Word of God, of course? Are they going to be able to contribute to your children knowing the Word of God on their family standpoint of things? Are they good at communicating? And all 5 of these things just all go right hand in hand with our last things, which is relationship with God. I think that honestly, if you have a relationship with God, you have a strong relationship with God, then you have hit every one of these. You should check off every one of these. I really do think you should, and if not, then there's work to be done.
Some evaluation to be done.
Yeah, and so, I come from the standpoint of, and I will break this down a little bit here, is I believe, and I think the Bible backs me on this, and both of these guys believe the same, that throughout the Word, it is specified for you to inherit the kingdom of heaven, you must first, believe that God is real, obviously, that He did send His Son to die on a cross for the forgiveness of your sins. Second off, you must be able to admit that you do wrong, and I said do. You must be able to admit that you do wrong.
Sure, Carson.
Yeah, right. You must be able to admit that you do wrong, and you. Bro thinks it's a funny joke. I'm sorry, you made me laugh. I thought that was funny. You must be able to admit that you do things that are wrong, and you are a sinner, and you will not be able to inherit the kingdom of heaven without God. You must 3 then obey the word of God, which for whatever reason 3 just like slips through the cracks a lot. But
Oh my goodness.
you must be baptized for the remission of your sins, which is mentioned all through Scripture. When you look into the New Testament, which is, if you believe that Jesus Christ is the Son of God, then you believe in the New Testament as the law, and then you would believe that now it says not Jew nor Gentile, but anyone that comes and follows the Word of God and does what it says. And one of the steps that it states all throughout is that you must obey the Word, and that is to be baptized. And then not only after those 3 steps, there's a 4th one which you must continue to do so. So when I say all those things, that would what would make up someone that would be a member of the church, the body of Christ. Okay, and so by saying that comes to the point of, to me, I personally would not date, let alone marry, someone that did not and had not already taken that step. Okay, now will I talk to somebody and convert and try to do any kind of evangelism as I'm called to do to anyone? Yes, I will. But until I have seen them come to where they have followed the Word of God, and they're wanting to follow the Word of God because of their actions, not because of them wanting to be with me or someone else, I would not consider to be with them. I think that
It's about intention.
that to me, I should not matter at all when you compare me beside God.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so
God won.
Yeah,
God won.
and I think that gets miscued. They're like, people will say, God's number 1, spouse is number 2. God's number 1 through 100, and then we can talk about spouse. You know, like
Shouldn't even be on the ranking.
yeah, it's like
Jesus is the answer. Now what's the question?
right. So it's like you should always be making sure that God is your main priority, because that right there is going to translate directly into how you handle issues in a relationship with a person. And honestly, if you think about it, in a lot of ways, yes, we don't have a physical touch sense to God, but we are able to communicate Him through prayer, you know, through speaking to His Son that is able to communicate through Him. And by doing such a thing, you know, we're able to have a relationship with God. And there's a lot of similarities in a relationship with God and a relationship with a person. Now, of course, there's flaws with people, of course, and you don't respect a person near as much as God. You don't fear the people near as much as you fear God, because, I mean, they can't just strike you down. You know?
Yeah, smite you.
Yeah. So I think that, though, that communicate it, all these things we talked about, every single one of them, all goes into having a relationship with God.
And it's a godly woman.
And having a godly woman. Like, to me, I should never have to clarify that on Sundays our family's going to church.
Oh my goodness, no.
You know what I mean?
It's like an unspoken.
Like, that should never have to be spoken. Like, if that was to be spoken, I would think like that'd be like, what do you mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'd be like, wait, are we going to go to
or
church
even
on Sunday?
bro,
Yeah.
even on Wednesdays.
Yeah, I mean, well, not as hard on Wednesdays.
Yeah, but you know, like it should be like a part of
you
your
should want to
culture.
worship Christ. Yeah. And I've always thought, like, can you just imagine having like a big old nice soft bed, and you, your wife, and all your kids are on the bed. You're just laying there, and you're under blankets, and you're in a nice lit room, and you're sitting there and you're reading God's word, and you're studying God's word. That right there is like that right there is one of those moments where you just gotta like stop and pause and be like, it's here. Like, I
made it.
I've actually made it. So I think that all goes into wanting a good relationship, and it always has to be built on the foundation of God. If God is not in your marriage, there will always be a major flaw, because that's a hole that never ends, that needs to be filled, and the only thing that can fill that is the infinite and eternal God. I rambled on that one.
No, I think you said it perfectly. I want to back up some of the stuff you said. I want a wife that's going to lead me and make me a better Christian.
Yeah, I mean,
that should
Make you a stronger leader.
Make me a stronger. Like, of course, I'm already gonna have that thrive, but I want a wife that's gonna make me even have a more thrive to love God even more than I already do.
It's like an extra energy boost.
And like you said, on reminiscing on things that we already been through this. But like, can you imagine like just like going to church, right, and then right after going straight to a Tex-Mex restaurant, and then you go there and you see all the other church members? Like, to me, like, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Man, can you imagine like how our dads like they get excited about going out to eat? Like us calling like, "All right, bro, we're gonna meet you at such and such." You know what I mean?
My goodness, it's just, I just can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Lord willing.
Yeah, like that, man. That's like I just want to pull those tables together. You know,
Yeah.
Man, that's right.
Yeah, we have a large group with us tonight.
Yeah.
How many people? 74.
23. There's 23.
That Carson guy's like 9 kids.
Carson. How many people in your party? 23.
Yeah.
23. Yeah, it's not too much.
Yeah, you hear that Carson kid, he had like 5 kids before they've been married 2 years. Like,
It's gonna get to a point where they're gonna be like, oh, Carson's here. Yeah. Like, they're gonna know that we have a
There's
big
only
family.
6 adults.
1, 2, 3.
There's 17
See,
kids
I
there.
want to be 17 kids menus. Oh, that'd be so
Yeah.
fun.
So I mean,
We're averaging about 6 or 7 kids a person. Oh crap.
yeah.
So anyways,
Man, this has been a meme-ridden episode. Anyways, with that being said, guys, I think let's all have a little closing statement. You want to do a little closing statement each?
this one.
Okay, Dawson, you have a closing statement first?
I want you to go first.
You want me to go first? You want to go first?
Well, you know what? I gotta be more decisive. I want to go first.
That's one, man.
My closing statement is: marriage is good, God is good. Be patient, be kind, be thoughtful, be intentional.
There you go. No?
My closing.
I got one more.
Go ahead.
And marriage is a lifetime commitment, so take it seriously.
Amen. My closing statement, after everything we said, like I said, I would love to hear y'all's opinion on things. Like I said, we're open to any conversation, but every man, there's not just for women. That men have problems, we all have problems. But as long as you have God first, everything else will unravel and it will be solved. I love all of y'all, and I pray that all of y'all find the wife and the man of y'all dreams.
Yeah. Before we go over to Devo, I'm going to have my closing statement, which would be, I think the thing that outside of course, asking for forgiveness of my sins, that I pray for to God probably the most is, Lord, let me, like, Lord, I know that I think I'm ready, Lord, but this is not in my hands. This is your hands. But please provide me with a woman that can lead me closer to you, because I'm not going to sit here and, say, oh, well, just come on right now. Come on. Like, cough it up. It's my turn. But I do pray for the fact that I want to have a woman that can lead me closer to Christ. And as a man, you should be looking for a woman that is going to lead you closer to Christ. And a woman should be looking for a man going to lead you to Christ. I think as a man, you need to make sure that you have your priorities in check. And when I say priorities, I want to clarify, because a lot of people are going to talk about job. They're going to talk about financial. That doesn't matter. That's a worldly possession, and
God will handle that.
The Lord will prevent. When I say priorities, are you thinking in a clear state of mind where you can make rational decisions for you and a spouse? And once you have that in mind, and I think once you're personally a legal adult, you should then be in the search for finding a lifelong partner to where they can be stand beside you. One of my favorite songs is Tammy Wynette's "Stand by Your Man," and the entire song is just talking about how women need to stand by their man.
If only Tammy took the advice.
Only if Tammy took the advice herself. But besides the point, I think that it's very important that a man is in a cognitive state to where they are ready to lead and they can process what it takes to lead, and a woman is in just as fair of a state, because I don't think men give enough credit to this, and I try to give enough credit, and I can't even fathom it. To be a good Christian woman of the Bible, you have to be able to hear what another person tells you to do, and you have to be able to just trust them enough to be like, okay, I believe you. I mean, to me, that like right there is such a hard thing not to argue and bicker about it, but that's a very strong-willed individual. And some of like the biggest, I mean, we have a picture of one of them on a wall right behind the camera of someone in my life that was like that, to where she was the ideal version of what a Christian woman looked like. And I think that that's very...
Proverbs 31.
Yeah, Proverbs 31, this, and that's
and
quoted.
Her sister was too.
Yeah, that's very quoted a lot, but I think it's very important that you are with someone that is going to lead you in the direction towards Christ, and you're going to do it, holding hands. To close, I'll say this. There's I don't know if you probably heard this story before, but there's a story of this guy, and he's walking on the beach, and he's with Jesus. Mm-hmm. And as he's walking with Jesus, he looks down, he realizes there's only one footprint. There's only two pairs of footprints. There's only one pair now. And he says, Jesus, why did you leave me? And he says, I've been carrying you this entire time. You guys should both be in those arms with Jesus, right? You guys should be holding hands and being like, okay, we are with Jesus. We are doing things to stay beside his side. And I think it's very important that, whenever one of y'all falls out of the arms, the other one's there to grab you and throw him back in there. And so with that being said, what?
Realized when we're talking about family, we never talked about getting permission from the father.
We can touch on it.
I'm down to touch on it.
I mean, that's crucial.
That is crucial. But
you can't marry a woman
that
if
goes
the father
with
doesn't approve.
Where is it? When we're talking about family, is getting the permission from the father.
So I will pose this question to both of y'all.
Yeah.
If you are in a relationship and you've decided this is the woman that you will marry, I think we all have the same answer on this. What do you do if you go to the father and you trust this father, you like this father a lot, and he tells you no, that you can't
absolutely not getting married?
For me, out of respect out of the father, I think
that's disrespectful to the father.
Yeah, I think that right there is the toughest thing to do as a man, is the fact that you would have to. Imagine the excitement. Like, can you imagine having calling your friends, calling your brother, calling your mom, your dad, and you're telling them
don't call before you ask.
Yeah, that's why you don't call.
But hypothetically,
you're
gonna get the call regardless.
Can you just imagine being in the truck and you're on the phone, you're saying, I just bought the ring. I'm going right now to ask. I'm going to talk to our parents right now. And you get there and you're talking to the parents and you ask the dad, you say, may I have your daughter's hand in marriage? And he says no. Now you have to sit there and you just have to throw out your entire life that you just built this fantasy in your head out the window, and you have to be strong-willed enough.
Be patient on building fantasy.
Now, my question is, if she has a father but he's not in the picture, do you ask?
Yes.
But
does his word matter as much?
If he's not a godly man, no.
I don't think so. I think godly men is a huge difference. I think
if they're a Christian and they're a godly man,
they say
then yes, I do respect his opinion.
Also, I think if he's
if he's not a godly man, I'm
asking out of kindness. At that point.
I'm asking out of kindness.
Yeah.
But if she has a godly brother or something, I would ask him.
Yeah, and okay, fine. That's the next question. If
the father's not there,
do you?
Yes.
For me,
it's the brother, right?
For me,
brother.
I'm asking the mother and the brother. I'm asking both personally.
Do they both have to say yes?
Huh? No, for me it'd be more than
I would ask your brother first because men have a certain responsibility over the women that they care for in their lives.
But I'm still personally asking both. I don't know about y'all, but me personally, I'm asking.
Question: if they only have a sister remaining in their family.
I would just call her. I would tell her first.
I ask her.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, I'm gonna do this, but is it okay with you?
Just like circle yes or circle no.
I'm gonna do it regardless. It's like just being nice.
No, it's like you have like a blue yes, and then like it's like it says yes, and then yes, but in a different color. Just the options. So I think that's a good point to bring up, even though we had to circle back to it. But yes, being in a relationship in which you are going to ask for your hand in marriage, I think if it's a godly family, it is very important of what the family, if they have a father, specifically a father, if they give you the hand in marriage.
What if they're raised by their grandparents?
Yeah, ask the grandpa.
Then the grandpa.
If the grandpa's a godly man, I think it's still
it's
the same thing.
But yeah, her father figure, if she doesn't have
I just cannot believe, like, I that is like one of the most unfathomable things. Like, I don't know. To me, almost, I feel like if I was
I didn't think about that.
if I was the man, and I just told somebody, no, you cannot marry a daughter, and I saw him take that with the perspective, I won't marry him. I would change my mind.
I'm going to change my mind.
I would say this young man has his things in check.
And then I would change my mind.
Yeah.
That would change my mind.
That would, personally.
If he respected my wish.
I think, within a week.
I'll tell him, that's the thing. You tell the guy no just to see. Test him,
as a test?
As a test. To see what kind of guy he actually is.
No, I'm not gonna lie.
That's
that
a great.
Low-key might be a.
It's diabolical.
That's cruel.
I honestly, I understand the test. I know guys that would do stuff like that, but I do kind of think it's cruel.
I think
it's cruel.
It's one thing to do it, but you gotta you can't let him leave the room thinking. It's like him calling. We gotta break up right now.
I would cry right then and there.
I'd fall on the floor.
Probably. I'd be distraught.
I would be inconsolable.
But
do you mention that? I think I would give a speech along the lines of mentioning the fact that what you say right here is what will happen. Right now, I want you to let you know that you control the offspring of your daughter, and as well as me, you control the rest of our lives. All that responsibility is going to be placed in your hands. Like I would clarify about what this decision is for him, and I would say, so you have to make the decision. No, I would lay it out. Man. I would want to lay it out just so he knew where my mind is, to where if he says no to me right now, I'm going to shake your hand and walk out of your house, and you're never going to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not going to come back here. Like, I'm done with your daughter. You know what I mean? So
I have respect for you.
Yeah, that right there, I think is
a lot of people will think that's crazy.
Yeah, and a lot of people can't even fathom that, and I think that is a hard thing to fathom, like to do that. But I think it would be important to do such a thing.
Yeah, you need to respect father's wishes. Okay, Carson, sorry for that. You go back to your.
No, I think that needed to be added.
Yeah, I just didn't want to.
No, that
I didn't want to get fathers get disrespected.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. I think I said pretty much everything I had to say, so you can go ahead and do your Devo.
All right, everyone, I got Devo. This is my second Devo, I'm pretty sure. Let me pull it up. But no, I think that didn't need to be added.
Yeah,
that was a good.
I was thinking that has to be said.
Yeah,
that might be my second biggest fear. Is either her saying no or him saying no. Is my two biggest fears.
Like, I feel like I'd almost be like a kid in kindergarten. Like,
have you ever heard of a guy saying no to like a godly man before though?
I haven't.
No,
I've never heard of that.
But
like, you would know.
Can you imagine if the daughter said no and you're like, well, your dad said yes, so we're
you
getting married.
gotta do it anyway.
Like, your dad said he's never saying no to another person.
No.
Also, I think that I would like to mention also that I think that also matters that it matters to her that you ask for, you know. That,
if that doesn't matter to her,
low-key, I think the dad would say yes more likely than the daughter.
that might be. You might need to find
a new wife. This guy's as harmless as a fly. Yeah, you can marry her. And she's like, no.
He's like absolutely. Ew. Imagine.
Would you ask, here's another question. Would you ask the woman multiple times?
I have an opinion on this.
Okay, Carson.
I'm afraid to state it because if it actually comes back to bite me, then you guys are going to use it against me. I plan to ask one woman one time to marry me, and if so, then I'm going to take it as a sign from the Lord above to never ask again. It'll be.
That's not crazy to say. That's not crazy to say.
My knee will touch the ground one time and one time only.
To be fair, you are.
I'm glad that my great grandfather disagreed with you, and that I exist.
My grandfather did. My great grandfather did disagree. How many times he asked? Like 20.
I think 8.
8 times. 8.
Hey,
run that by me one more time.
That man on the wall back there asked 8 times to take that woman's hand in marriage.
Why was she so stubborn?
She was a stubborn woman. She was a mule right there.
Hey. It was a 60-year. It was a happy marriage.
Whose fault was it? Was he like immature or?
I kind of stand with my grandmother on this one. I kind of feel as if I'm not for
She
sure.
did think he was worthy.
Yeah, which is a crazy thing to say.
Worthy?
If you knew him, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah,
That is crazy.
but
Hey, they
Wait,
were married.
what was your
They were
original
married for
question?
like 60 years.
What was your original question?
What?
What was the question that you just
If
answered?
would you only ask one time?
Yeah, me personally, if she says no, and I spent all that time, like, you know, putting my life into it and all that, and she's like, well,
I'm gonna be honest.
I'm gonna stand up, kiss her on the hand, and say, I hope you have a beautiful life. I love you, and I believe.
I'm really curious how you ask 8 times.
That just tells you how much of a G she was. That just tells you she was a queen. A legit queen.
I actually have a lot of respect for my grandfather. Like just I wouldn't.
He's better than me.
Yeah,
I would have gave up after that.
He was saying it. He's like, "Are you sure?" Like
There's some girls like,
he
well,
was
he's gonna
like,
chase me.
I just wish
I ain't gonna do better
how.
than this.
Like, Grandpa,
So,
give me your 8 engagement stories. I want to hear them all. Now, the
Number
the
one.
one that actually worked was underneath the tree in front of the church parking lot. That was the one that worked. And I don't know what the other ones were.
Yeah, that's weird. That's your girl.
No. I'm not about to state that because if they were to find this video, they will know. But
Yeah, you would snitch on yourself. Yeah,
I do have a spot which it will take
I do.
place.
Yeah, we talked about it. Oh, I wish we could talk that on pod,
yeah, it's a private spot. And
Private spot.
but we can't talk because our future
it's a
wives.
private spot. And B that
I will
takes
say
the
this.
special
I
out
will
of
say
it.
this out of there.
It's a spot
Very-
for him, his wife, and God.
There was
Amen.
not long ago, very close to the spot, not really necessarily the spot, but kind of in a way the same spot. I found a dead calf there, which was
Was that a sign? Like, yo,
No,
baby.
it wasn't a sign. There's been multiple things that die in this spot. It's in the wilderness, so.
What if you like propose to her and there's something dead? There's something's already there dead. Are you gonna
You'll
check
know.
before?
No, the way we tell is there's buzzards. You'll see the buzzards.
Hey,
I'm
babe, let's wait a little longer. Let's wait a few days.
Yeah, never
We'll be
mind.
back next week.
Yeah,
Why are we here? Don't worry about it. Yeah,
I just want to show you this blood.
I was checking something, but it won't be here till next week.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah. An Amazon package coming out.
Yeah, that's true. 'Cause we do have drones now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not crazy to say.
Anyways, all right. Yeah, Devo.
All right, so on to my Devo. Okay, so a lot of y'all, I know some of y'all are older, some of y'all are younger, but a lot of y'all can tell me stuff about your wife or your girlfriend. You can tell me about the personality. You can tell me about the things that they like, they hate. You can just tell me about their everything. You know, once you date them, you get to know them. But I do talk. I'm a black preacher. The Lord said, my bad. Anyways, but you can tell me a lot about them. But can you do the same with God? If I asked you, what is God like? How did God feel about this? Will you be able to answer that? A lot of us feel like we are not close to God. But the reason we're not close to God is because we are not close to God. He's always there. We got to make the effort to get close to him. It says in James 4:8, draw near to God and he will draw near to you. That shows us something important. I think I just contradict myself. Anyways, that shows something important. God isn't distant. He's waiting for us to come closer. For example, let's say there is a girl you're talking to, right? And if you don't, because, girls, you got to do stuff for girls to get them. You got to, sometimes you got to presents, teddy bears, and all that. You got to make a effort to get that girl. If you were to come to me and be like, yeah, I like her, but I just don't want to talk to her, or I just don't talk to her, then you obviously don't like her enough to, really get to go to her and all that other stuff. So basically what I'm trying to say is that you got to make the effort to go to the Lord. And that can involve simple things, as in praying. When you like a girl, what do? You talk to her. That's how you figure out what she likes and all this other stuff. That's what you do with prayer. And also with that is reading the Bible. You got to know what the Lord wants, just like you know what your girl wants. So you got to read the Bible. You got to do all that. And another thing you got to do, hold up, guys, give me 1 second. You got to be patient. How many people do you know that gets in a relationship that's instant? They ask one time, or they see him one time, they ask him, and it's right then and there. Sometimes it takes guys months. Sometimes it takes guys years. And the same thing with God. Sometimes you got to be patient for you to have what's the word I'm looking for? The confidence to go to him. Because, a lot of us are like sinners. Mm-hmm. Like, I know back when was like, we are sinners.
Everybody's a sinner.
Everybody's a sinner. Like, when I was 15, I always thought I was too sinful to talk to God.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to grow up and be like, well, we are all sinners. And, that's when baptism comes on. But we're all sinners. I felt like I was just impure to talk to God. And it took me a long time, patience, to see that, everybody goes through that. And another thing that we got to do is we got to remove distractions. Like, I know a big thing for me, especially at night, because that's normally when I read the Bible, is that I would always be on the TV. I was always be on the phone. And all this other stuff. So you got to move distractions and work around distractions to have that time with God. And that is my lesson for today.
Yep. All right, Dawson, close this prayer.
Okay. Dear Lord, thank you for this other day, Lord. At this time, be blessed as we've taught and helped people to hear the information that we have said on this, and hope that it can help them in some way, Lord. Help us to be a good example for you in all that we do, Lord, and help us to continue to do your will, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Well, ladies, as we said earlier, we're single. With that being said, we would like to thank you for watching another episode, and we'll be back with more serious things next week. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode, because you got more of it coming for you next week. Our Substack is backlashmedia.substack.com. Our Instagram is backlashmediablm. Needle Drop Instagram, which is our country music page, is Needle Drop Media. Our TVO Gaming page on Instagram is TVO Gaming, and our TikTok page, Backlash Media BLM. With that being said, I'm going to close in the words of my grandfather. See you in the funny papers.